Hey everybody, this is Dr. Nashlie with the Garden of Nash, and today we're going to talk about sweet potatoes. Alright, so one of my favorite vegetables to eat is the almighty sweet potato. Sweet potatoes have a lot more nutrients than your regular potatoes. They also grow differently, and so there's different ways. We'll look into that, but the easiest way to start a potato or even a sweet potato is with your glass. So let's check out how we started, and I'll show you how we finished. We started the sweet potatoes by getting up a couple of sweet potatoes, leaving them on the counter, and we were able to start to see little splits start to come out of the sweet potatoes. And so when that started to happen, we're able to see, okay, which end of the sweet potato are they actually sprouting from. It's usually the end, the opposite of the pointed end. And then you can cut it in half just to have less of the sweet potato that you have to deal with as far as getting nutrients to it. And then all the nutrients is forced up into those sweet potato slits. And so once that happens, you're able to put the sweet potato in a jar, and then you can start to see amazing things start to happen, almost like a mad scientist. And so what happens is that the sweet potato starts to grow roots out of each of the slits. And then each of the slits can then become their own plant. And then that grows into a huge vine that you either need a trellis for, or you can let it hang over. For us, we'll let it hang. But we are able to see how that growth happens over time. So look at how far we've come with these sweet potatoes. All right, so we have one here that is just really taking off. I mean, this is after several weeks, and you're able to see that there are a lot of roots that have grown from each of the slits. You can see we have a total of about 4 slits in there, and each of them has actually grown a root from the side of it. So this is where, now granted, there's a lot of ways to grow sweet potatoes and start them out. Some people literally just put them in the garden, right? But what we're gonna do, and what I've learned in the past, the way I get the best yield out of the sweet potatoes is to plant each of these slits as a separate plant. Because we have roots coming out of each of them, they should be fine if you break them off, and these vines will continue to grow and get stronger. And then each one of these little, you see these little white hairs that are kind of sticking out from the side, each of those, and even these notches here, each of those has the potential to grow more vines and more roots that eventually turn into more sweet potatoes. So I love to spread these out even more. One thing to note also about why we started like this is because the sweet potato itself actually provides the nutrients that the plants need. That's why you don't need any dirt, you don't need any fertilizer to get it to this point. But if you want to see strong vines to grow more sweet potatoes, to grow more roots, you're going to need to add more fertilizer and eventually transplant these into soil or some sort of hydroponic system. So that's that. We also have one that didn't do so well, and I can explain what happened here. So this one actually did start to grow a little root at the bottom, but it's so small and it's barely taken off. Now I've seen sweet potatoes like start out like this. I actually cut the sweet potato a little bit more than half. Like I cut way more than half off when starting this one, so it didn't have as much nutrients to grow. And so it also could have just been the sweet potato itself. Could have been something going on with it. But these were organic sweet potatoes that I got out of your local supermarket or grocery store. And anyone can do this at home with a cup or a jar, and just continue to add water. Just remember that when these plants soak up, since they soak up so much water, you have to add more water. You have to add more water daily. sometimes or every few days. But when they're starting to grow big like this, they're ready to transplant. We're also gonna try the experiment to see if this one actually does take off. Other than that, we got us some sweet potato vines. All right, everybody, this is Dr. Nashlie with the Garden of Nash. Thanks so much for tuning in as we planted some sweet potato vines. I hope that everyone's able to grow their own food and become more healthier. And we hope that you like, subscribe, comment, hit the post notification bell for more content. Thanks so much.